Okay, so I decided it's time to talk about The Substance. I have had a chance to watch it, and I've got a lot to say. Is it the best horror movie that we had of 2024? I will discuss that in a little bit, but I wanted to tell you if you are interested in horror movies that are body style horror movies, most specifically David Cronenberg's The Fly, um, this is definitely one that you're going to be interested in. It's also going to have elements of stuff like John Carpenter's The Thing and all kinds of other movies that aren't necessarily body horror movies, such as Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. You're even going to have a little bit of Hitchcock involved. So if any of those things sound interesting to you, this might be one to look into. But this movie was hyped up quite a lot just because of how much praise it got um, in the independent film festivals and so on. And then, of course, when it came to theaters and stuff like that, even though it's kind of a lower budget movie, this movie stars Demi Moore, who hasn't been around really that much for a while, but she plays as a film actress that used to be really popular back in the early days, but now she's relegated to this network fitness TV show that's slumping in the ratings, and they decide to axe her as a result because she's getting old, nobody's watching it and stuff like that. So she gets desperate and runs across a solution for eternal youth and whatnot called the substance. Now, I can't really go into much depth beyond that without spoiling the movie, but there is a lot of crazy shenanigans that happens after she takes the substance. Now, as far as if you're like somebody that's really squeamish, I would stay far away from this movie. There's a lot of gross stuff. Like I said, David Cronenberg's The Fly is a huge influence. Now you're not going to get to something that's, in my opinion, as bad as The Human Centipede, which that was like one of the only movies that I just could not watch. That movie was completely disgusting. It wasn't to that degree, in my opinion, but it is definitely on the upper tier. So if you're squeamish, I would stay away. It does have a lot of nudity as well. So I would not watch this with the little kids. Just something to keep in mind. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie quite a lot. Now, previously, I said, is it the best horror movie of the year? That's a question I'm going to answer because my previous favorite was Heretic from A24. That was a movie I absolutely adored from start to finish. And before that, my favorite was Long Legs. Long Legs was excellent. I really love that movie as well. Obviously, very different kind of movies from what this is, because um, Heretic was more of a psychological horror movie, whereas Long Legs was more of a mystery horror kind of movie. And then this is more of like a grotesque body horror movie that definitely goes a bit on the extreme end of things. And then some of the other great horror movies that I watched in 2024 would include Late Night with the Devil. That was really good. The First Omen, that was a really good movie. I really enjoyed Maxine. I know a lot of people thought that was the worst one of the trilogy, but that was actually my personal favorite of the trilogy. Just really dug the vibes of that. There's a lot of good ones, even like Trap, which I know a lot of people crapped on that movie, but I actually enjoyed Trap. I thought it was pretty good, especially given that M. Night Shyamalan kind of has a wishy-washy track record. How does The Substance compare? That is really tough to say. I would say that for me at least, I would probably put it around the same level as Long Legs. I would say I enjoyed both those movies about the same, but I still would personally say that Heretic was a bit better overall for my personal taste because I really enjoyed the way that developed. What really kind of made the difference for me is the plot of this movie because even though everything is well done, everything is top notch, killer soundtrack, awesome set design, everything's great with that. It's just the plot was a little predictable for me. Like I kind of figure where things were going about halfway or so into the movie. Like there wasn't really a lot of guessing at that point, and that's kind of disappointing when you get to that point in a movie. But I mean, everything was top notch. Otherwise, the acting, the performances, everything. The set designs, like I said, great practical effects. Um, just a fantastic movie. And as far as like getting the Blu-ray, excellent transfer. I mean, very high grade. really good surround. So you're not going to be disappointed at all to pick up a home, copy for home. So if you happen to watch The Substance, let me know what you think. But that's the last line.